So here we go, the story of owning a Jeep. If you own a Jeep, you've ever had a Jeep, you know what I'm about to say. It is very painfully a common reoccurrence. I bought more parts, of course. So somehow parts keep showing up in my house and my truck keeps ending up at the shop. So this time, we addressed a noise that was happening at low end braking, and it was diagnosed several times by rear control arm bushing failure. So I went ahead and replaced not just the 4 that were failing, but I replaced them all. So now I can confirm that I have a quiet, smooth braking experience back in my ride. Here are the parts, and this is what they look like. So here are all the parts that got replaced and removed. So these are my lower control arms, bottom, top, my geometry correction brackets from AEV, they're for the front. And here's my upper and lower control arms in the front. So here's something that I realized when looking at between the front control arms and the rears. So the front control arms are a little bit different. They still have this center metal piece with the bushing and the housing, but if you notice that the bushing on the fronts sticks out outside of the metal housing compared to the rears, which are depressed inside with the metal piece sticking out. There is some indication of wear and indication of it sinking in the rears. You can see it right there. All right, so I got it again over here. There's some indication that it's sinking and that the bushings may have been failing. I'm not quite sure if I understand as much about these bushings to know if they truly did fail or not. I do know that my creaking is gone. On the braking, I do have some brake creaking. That's not what I'm hearing now. I did notice that, for example, this one has some kind of a coating around it that is peeling and is further in than some of the others. But nonetheless, I replaced these lower control arms to get rid of the noise, and it seems to be doing better. So if you're having creaking and clunking at low end speeds when you're trying to brake, take a look at these bushings on your control arms. It may be a case that these things have failed, just like my diagnosis was. So this is what they look like. Again, not sure if this is what they're supposed to look like or just how worn do they appear. But yeah, this is where the noise apparently was coming from. This is a quick shot that shows the difference between my used bushings on the left and a brand new Gladiator bushings on the right. So here's the fix. I went with a full set of the Teraflex Alpine adjustable control arms. These are the short arms because my lift is only 2 inches, so I didn't really need the long arms. These were adjusted to the new height of the truck. Because of that, we removed the added AEV front geometry correction brackets. Here they are installed in the front. Previously, the geometry correction brackets were right over here, which means that it was hanging on the bottom and straining out the bar. But as you can see from this, there's an angle to this bar, right? So the angle to the bar itself looks like it's gonna correct my geometry good enough where I don't need those brackets anymore. Just add extra hanging when I go off-roading on trails. So let's see how this rides. So far it's been very good. Pretty quiet. Most of all, no clunking when I brake. So I'm pretty happy so far. Let's see how they do on the trail. one thing I like about removing the brackets is how clean of a look it gives me at the bottom. So those brackets did stick out the bottom of the bars in the front end. No more.